Hello, and welcome to this training video for faculty members who review institutional courses for their equivalency to CORE42 motors. Some of you watching this may have already been reviewing courses for several years, or you may be new to the process. Whichever is the case, we hope that you find that this information is helpful and makes the reviewing process more transparent. Each year, the Core Curriculum Advisory Committee, or CCAC, and the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development request faculty reviewers from each participating institution's chief academic officer. While there may be some messages outside of this time frame, you'll find that most of your work will be during the official review period of October 15 through January 15. We thank you for taking the time to provide your expertise to this project, which ultimately helps students transfer seamlessly across the state of Missouri. To begin, I'm going to provide a little background about the CORE42. All public 2- and 4-year institutions in the state are required to participate in CORE42. There are currently 27 public institutions and 5 independent institutions that have signed on to participate as well. Each participating institution appoints a member to the Core Curriculum Advisory Committee, which determines the process and standards for determining equivalency. The CCAC members also manage the review process, tally votes, and report outcomes to the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development. Students completing the CORE42 obtain the basic competencies of valuing, managing information, communicating, and higher order thinking through the completion of at least 42 semester hours distributed across the knowledge areas of communications, humanities and fine arts, natural and mathematical sciences, and social and behavioral sciences. MOTOR stands for Missouri Transfer Number, and it is the statewide common numbering system for course equivalency and transfer. This designation is used only for courses originating at a Missouri institution. Institutional courses are reviewed for their equivalency to the MOTOR. MOTORs provide the architecture of general education equivalency. The CORE42 currently contains 184 MOTORs and over 2,300 courses. All of the courses have been reviewed for equivalency by faculty review groups. Participating students must complete at least 42 credit hours in 5 knowledge areas to meet the general education requirements for most liberal arts and sciences degrees at Missouri's public colleges and universities. The CORE42 allows for minimum hours in all 5 knowledge areas, plus an additional 5 hours that may come from any of the 5 knowledge areas to satisfy general education. The completion of the CORE42 at any public institution of higher education will transfer to every other public institution of higher education in the state and substitute for the receiving institution's general education requirement. Individual courses that comprise the CORE42 are guaranteed to transfer 1-to-1 among all public and participating independent colleges and universities in Missouri. If you'd like more information or to read more about CORE42, please visit these Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development references. And also, please feel free to contact the department at any time with further questions or concerns. Now, we'll begin to cover what you'll be doing as a faculty reviewer. You will work virtually on email or in some cases in Basecamp or Zoom with a group of faculty from institutions across the state. The chair of your review team will be a member of the CCAC. Your primary job will be to determine if an institutional course is equivalent to a MOTOR by using the course description and the learning objectives. You may be asked to review courses for more than one MOTOR. For example, if your discipline is anthropology, you could be reviewing courses both for general anthropology and/or cultural anthropology. A member of the Core Curriculum Advisory Committee will serve as the chair of your review group. This CCAC member may be serving as the chair of several different reviews. All new courses that you will be reviewing have been submitted by the chief academic officers to the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development. Department staff and CCAC members check for submission forms for missing information and other errors before they are shared with you, the faculty reviewer. Your review chair will determine and communicate a mechanism to collect your votes and feedback. This may be just email, or they may send you a spreadsheet to complete. Your review chair will forward the institutional course submission sheets for your review, and your review chair will inform you what information on the on the course form should be reviewed for equivalency. The course submission documents contain several pieces of information to help you determine if the course is equivalent to the motor. These include the course description, the course outcomes, and the course abstract. Here's an example of an institutional new course form. The circled area shows where you'll find the course description. And this section is where the institution will include the course's learning objectives. The institution will attach a course abstract as a separate document. As a reviewer, you should begin with the course descriptions. Compare the institutional course description with the motor description. If the motor has outcomes established, compare the institutional course objectives with the motor objectives. If the motor does not yet have objectives established, use the institutional objectives to provide further context to the course description. Use the course abstract to provide further context to the course description and objectives. If you determine that the course is equivalent for the purpose of transfer, vote yes. If they are not equivalent for the purpose of transfer, vote no and provide a reason for the no vote. This information will be shared with the institution, but your name and your institution will remain anonymous. Here's an example of an institutional course description and the motor description. This institutional course was determined to be equivalent to the motor. If an institution changes the course description or learning objectives of a course that is already approved as an equivalent to a motor, they must submit the new description or objectives for review for continued equivalency. So this is another area in which you may be conducting a review. This is the section of the course submission form on which the institution will indicate that a previously approved course description or objectives have been changed. In this example, the course was already part of the CORE42, but the institution has indicated that the learning objectives were updated. You will proceed by reviewing the new objectives. If the motor has objectives established, review both the institutional course description and objectives with the motor description and objectives to determine if they are equivalent. If they are not, provide a reason which will be shared with the institution. Finally, here are a few further instructions in response to frequently asked questions. As a reviewer, you are only asked to review information that is submitted to you on course submission forms for equivalency to the motor description and, in some cases, the motor objectives. Not all motors have objectives developed at this time, though the Core Curriculum Advisory Committee is currently working on this project. Please do not contact the institution for additional information about the submitted course. If you cannot determine equivalency with the information provided, consult your review chair. Do not share how you voted or any results from your review group with anyone inside or outside your institution. Submitting institutions will not know your identity, including the institution you represent or how you voted. The results of the reviews and votes will be shared with the institutions by the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development prior to the publication of the final list for the year. Finally, thank you. Your work helps students save both time and money by streamlining the transfer process between Missouri institutions. Your work is valuable and appreciated by the Core Curriculum Advisory Committee and the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development.